Hordes of monsters began laying siege to the kingdom of Hyrule. Princess Zelda led a valiant defense against hopeless odds. News of the Hyrulean army's imminent defeat reached the cadets at the knight's training yard. As the elite troops fell in battle, Hyrule's trainees were left to wait helplessly inside the castle walls. Despite the odds, one young knight took up his simple training sword and chose to fight. This brave young man was named Link. Compelled to act, he rushed to the monster-ridden battlefield to assist Zelda and defend Hyrule.
Hyrule Warriors walkthrough. This is an extremely fun game, and my speakers are pretty loud for some reason. Come on, turn down, there we go. Anyway, let me continue on with the video. This is an extremely fun game that is really just a Samurai Warriors clone with the Zelda face on top of it. And if you didn't know that before you bought the game, then you probably haven't been paying much attention, or you've just never played Samurai Warriors, which is completely acceptable, because honestly, Samurai Warriors isn't that spectacular of a game. It's a ton of fun, but it's got a story that I can't really follow very well, and I don't know what any of the characters do or why they're really evil. Anyway, my TV's cracking over there. This turned Samurai Warriors into Zelda, basically, and it's got a few problems. Number one, the frame drops, which I also got in Samurai Warriors, and there's not many of those, but they are here and there. And then the constant blocking you off into going into the next area until you achieve something, which is pretty much standard for the Zelda games series, but for this one it's kind of annoying when you look on the minimap and you think you can go that way, but no, there's a big giant wall, and there's no real reason there's a wall there. It's just because the game says, hey, you're not allowed. But other than those things, also I get lost a lot, but when you do the missions you get used to that and you figure out where to go pretty soon. And there's also a 60-minute time limit for each mission, and that is kind of a ton of time. I mean, if you can't beat a mission in 60 minutes, then you either got extremely lost or you just weren't paying attention. I don't know. Now there are 3 difficulties: easy, medium, and hard. Or I guess easy, normal, and hard. This one is on normal, and I kind of messed up setting up the beginning of this walkthrough, just because for some reason, games these days are turning away from create a new file, and they have like 5 or 10 or a million file slots available. And now what they're doing is just giving you a big open file, and you can't really make a new one. You have to go and make a brand new account for something. So in this case, I have to create a whole new account on my Wii U to be able to start a whole new game of Hyrule Warriors. So that's what I will be doing for the rest of the walkthrough. I just didn't figure that out until after I had done this video. So for this video, for this very first level, I do have some advantages. I'm using a stronger sword, and I'm killing everything a lot quicker than I should be, even on normal difficulty. Especially this guy, he should have taken probably twice as long as that. But he's not that difficult anyway. Now, there's no dialogue in this game besides a couple of the cutscenes, so that's why I'm probably going to be talking over most of the cutscenes, but these cutscenes really are cool. And chances are I'll cut them together when I'm done and make an all cutscene video of Hyrule Warriors. There's something else I wanted to say. The game itself isn't too difficult so far. I've done about 5 or 6 levels into the, not the adventure mode, the legend mode. And there's a bunch of different modes. There's legend, adventure, challenge, and they're all pretty fun. I could probably go through those in a different video. There's also upgrade trees, and there's weapon upgrades, weapon smithing, items you can buy, and in the next video, in the second level, when I have items that I can use, I will go over those a little bit more, and I'll also do my best to explain how the different characters work and how switching between them works. So this is the pause menu that I thought was just good to bring up sometimes. It shows you the elapsed time in the top right, shows you the minimap. The blue dots are your team and the red dots are the enemy team. You want to try to put as much blue onto the map as possible. Earlier in this video, I went to one of those diamonds that you see on the minimap, and I took it over by killing the outpost guardian, and you always want to do that. If you see an outpost guardian, kill him, because it'll spawn it'll spawn extra minions on your own side, and it helps with your forces a lot. Whenever possible, try to capture keeps, and that really has been a huge part of this game, and that's something you want to focus on as much as you can. In later levels, you're gonna progress through the entire map, and then you're gonna have people coming from behind and taking over some of the keeps that you've already taken. But that isn't usually a big deal if you keep progressing and if you keep taking over keeps. If you ever get swarmed and you only have one keep and you can't get to another one, that might be a problem. But assuming you have around 3 to 4 keeps at any given point, sometimes 2 is enough, then you should be fine. There are items in this game, and you push the ZR button, and in the top left you can see my item there. Now, because I've already played this level on this file, I already have the bombs that you're going to be getting in just a few moments. First you have to kill this Lizalfos, which they become really annoying. I kind of figured out how to kill these guys sort of easier. You just kind of hit them twice, roll into them, hit them twice, roll into them, and the idea there is to try to keep them on the back foot so they can't block. If they block, it's almost always best to run away. If you see materials, which are little bags, or sometimes there are other symbols that lie on the ground, always pick them up because you will need them to upgrade, and upgrading is going to be really important. When you find a chest, push Y to open it up, and if you haven't done this before, you'll get the classic Nintendo 64 Ocarina of Time, oh look, what's inside the chest cutscene that Link pulls out the chest. And in this case it's bombs, but I've already gotten bombs, so instead it gives me a weapon, and I get a new weapon. I don't remember which weapon that was, but there, I got it. Now, bombs and different weapons will be really useful, especially for certain levels, and in this one they're really emphasized on using rocks, they're really emphasized on being used to destroy rocks. They can be used to take out mass groups of enemies, but it's almost always better just to take out enemies with a sword, and, well, maybe not better, but it's a lot more fun. You see me picking up arrow upgrades a couple of times. In the later level you get bows and arrows, and since you keep all your items for earlier levels, if you choose to replay them, then I have bows and arrows, but I'm not switching to them because you don't actually get them yet at this point in the game. When you're going to take over a keep, you'll want to move in and kill as many enemies as you possibly can. When that bar on the bottom, on the right side of the screen, it's right beneath the Westfield Keep, when that empties after you defeat enough enemies, then the keep boss will spawn, and you'll just want to defeat him, and the keep is yours. This works the same way for your people too. If the enemy comes in and they whittle down your keep health bar down to nothing, then they'll take it over and they'll start spawning enemies from there. Same goes for the outposts. If you don't kill if you do kill an outpost captain and then someone else comes and kills your captain, then they get the outpost, and it happens all over again. It's almost like a tower defense sometimes, so if you think of it like that, it's a little bit easier to understand, but it's not a difficult concept. It's not like you have to take 10 classes on it. Now, whenever possible, look for these special enemies on the field. In this case, it's Lizalfos or Lizarfos, whatever his name is. I can't see anywhere. I don't know. Lizalfos, I'll just call him that. And they really will cause problems to your army and to your people, so you want to just try to whittle down the amount of people that yours have to deal with. It's usually better just to rush through the armies and get to a keep and capture that than it is to deal with a couple of groups of scattered enemies. And right now, this right here is what I would consider scattered, and this makes capturing the keep a little bit more difficult just because I can't find any groups to kill to get that stupid health bar down quickly because they just haven't spawned yet because I got here so soon. And this is again on normal difficulty, and again I have a more powerful sword, but even so, this shouldn't be a lot more difficult than what's showing on screen. You should still kill things in a few hits. You can go into the options of the game and turn on minion health bars, and that will help. Not really a whole lot, it just kind of clutters up the screen, but I know a lot of people, mainly people who play MMOs, who really like having those health bars and those hit counters and all that, whatever you want to call it, all that nonsense on the screen. So I have a bunch of friends who have enabled those health bars, and it kind of fills up the screen with a bunch of red bars for the little tiny minions. But you normally kill those things so quickly, it really doesn't matter, and that's probably why they're disabled. If you're ever trying to keep up to date on the mission progress, try to read the little blurbs that come out from the different characters while you're playing. It can be kind of challenging to pay attention to what they're saying and not try to die at the same time. But normally they talk when not a whole lot of action is going on, and your map will be updated constantly with your next goal. In this case, we need to go to the Great Fairy, and the Great Fairy Fountain is going to be, again, a huge part in this game. This first level does a good job of encompassing almost everything that you're going to be running into. And then the Great Fairy is going to help you out a little bit. I probably could have managed without her in this particular level, but especially in later levels, she becomes a necessity, basically. So when you figure out where she is, this is one of the few levels that is so nice to tell you exactly where she is, otherwise you're going to have to go look for her. When you figure out where she is, you're going to have to go in, stand in this magic circle, and when Zelda shows up, which you're supposed to be back fighting with her, but I blasted through everybody so they got delayed. When Zelda finally shows up, you'll be able to push Y and activate the Great Fairy Fountain. Throughout the levels you will get checkpoints, and I'm not 100% sure how checkpoints work because I tend to sit down and beat the whole level before I quit playing the game, but I think it's probably along the lines of if you play a long level and you're 40 minutes in, if you get a checkpoint you can quit and then come back at that same point in the level. That is very nice because these are long levels and not everybody can just sit there and play this game all day. And after that 581 KO mass destruction set about by the Great Fairy, you'll just have to run back and prepare to fight the King Dodongo. You should have expected the Dodongo as a boss since you got the bombs in this level, and if you've never played a Zelda game, killing the Dodongo might be somewhat challenging. Well, I wouldn't even consider it challenging, maybe a little bit, what the heck am I supposed to do for a few minutes, because you can't damage him unless you know, and you just gotta throw bombs into his mouth. But I'm assuming most people who get this game have played at least one Zelda game, or have seen someone somewhere beat a Dodongo with bombs. So the idea is exactly the same as in other levels, in other Zelda games. Wait for the Dodongo to suck in his big powerful breath, throw all your bombs in, and then have your way with him. And this boss really resembles the Dodongo from Ocarina of Time. I almost called Ocarina of Time Super Mario 64. Oh man, I always played Mario 64 as a kid. I had Zelda and Mario, but it bugged me in Ocarina of Time that you couldn't jump. And for some reason, my logic as a kid was, I can't jump in this game, why would I play this when I can go play Mario and I can jump in Mario? And as far as I was concerned, both those games were almost exactly the same. So I don't know, I eventually played Ocarina of Time, and liked it. Didn't like it as much as everyone said they like it, but it's still a good game. Anyway, once you get the King Dodongo to suck in your bombs, this snowflake will show up above his head, and this was explained earlier in the level. Sometimes special enemies will have this weakness meter, or this kind of weak point bar, and all you have to do is whittle that down and you'll be able to do a big combo that does a ton of damage. With bosses, that's a little bit annoying, because more often than not, you'll get the boss down to a little sliver of health, or just a little pinch of health left, and then you have to wait for him to do his big cycle so you can finally throw more bombs, like now, and then actually defeat him. It's a little bit luck that he will suck in right away, and the fact that he sucked in twice and then this third time so soon was a little bit surprising to me, because the first time I did this I had to wait forever for him to let me throw bombs into his mouth. And once you defeat this guy, that'll be the end of the level.
The Triforce is the harmonious union of power, wisdom, and courage. It has been the object of countless battles between the forces of light and darkness. Each time the Triforce fell into the clutches of evil, Hyrule was plunged into misery. But in every age, a hero, clad in green, would restore peace to the land. During one of these dark times, the legendary hero split the spirit of evil into 4 fragments, sealing each away to finally break the cycle of destruction. 3 of the fragments were scattered across time and space. The final fragment was sealed in a sacred temple built upon holy ground, imprisoned by the blade of evil's bane.